Now that I have all my access objects in place, I've got my queries, I've got my forms, I've got my reports, I really want to start now making a form that's going to be the main interface that people first encounter whenever they open up this database. So I'm going to create a form. I'm just going to hit the Create tab in my ribbon, and it's going to be Form Design. I'm going to maximize it, and I'm going to save this form as FRM Interface. So I'll just hit my Save button, FRM Interface. And this is my main interface form. Okay, now I want to add a logo. I could hit the logo button and I could go and choose a logo, but it makes it too small. So I'm going to go Undo. And instead I'm going to go to the Controls section and I'm going to hit the More button and I'm going to go for Image. I want something bigger. So I'll hit Image and I'll click on my Detail section and allow me to go off and choose a logo. And so I'll insert a logo. Now that's a little big, so I'm just going to resize it. And that looks better. Okay. Now I need to add a label that says that this is the donations database. So I'm going to go to my label control and I'm just going to click on my form and call it donations database. And I need this to stand out a little bit more, so I'm going to go to Format and I'll increase the font size, maybe 20, and Best Fit. Yeah. And you can make yours look as lovely as you want to. Now when I view this form, so I'm just going to go to the Home tab and hit the Form View, I don't want to see these navigation buttons at the bottom, and I don't want to see any scroll bars, and I also don't want to see this record selector on the side here. Let me just show you the scroll bars, for example. If I go to Design View and make it quite a bit bigger and then go Form View, that's when the scroll bars start appearing, and I don't want them to scroll up and down and left and right. So we're going to turn these all off. So I'll go back to Design View, I'll shrink the size of the form so I don't get the scroll bars, and I will also double click where the two rulers come together, and I will set the scroll bars to neither. Under no circumstances do I want scroll bars. Navigation buttons, no. Record selectors, no. So when you view your form now, it looks more like an interface form. It doesn't have the record selectors for moving between records, because that's not what this form's designed for. And it doesn't have the record selector because, again, it's not records. So I'm going back to the design view. So I think those are important. Now the other thing I want to do is start adding some buttons, and the buttons are going to be to jump between various forms that we've created. So I want to create a button that opens up the campaign form, for example. So I'm going to my button control, I'll click that, and then I'll just click somewhere on my form. It's a form operation, and it's to open a form, and next. It's to open up the campaign form, so next. And it's to show all records, so next. And I want it to show text, and the text I want it to show is to maintain campaign data. So maintain, and I want campaign to have an underscored C, so I'll go ampersand C and then put campaign data and finish. And so what we have is a button to maintain campaign data, and they can hit the C if they want to use Alt-C instead of clicking the button. And in fact, I should put a control tip that says press Alt-C or click this button to see campaign data. That sort of thing. Now I want to make another button, and this is to open up the donor form. So we'll click the button control and we'll click underneath this one, and we'll go to form operations and tell it to open a form, and next, and it's the donor form, and next, and show all the records, and next, and the text I want to show is maintain ampersand donor data, and finish. And so the control tip, if I just steal this control tip here, take a copy, go to this button here and its control tip and paste, then I can say press Alt D or click this button to see donor data. And I'll make these two, or actually I'll do that later. So now I'm going to add another button. So I'll hit the button control, and I'll click under here, and I want to make a button that quits the application. So application, quit application, and next. And the text I want to show is exit, so that needs an ampersand, exit database, and finish. And so in the control tip text, we can paste what we took earlier, and we can say press Alt E or click this button to exit the database. Now I'm going to lasso these three command buttons, and through the Arrange tab in the ribbon, I'm going to size them to the widest, size them to the tallest, and align them to the left. And I'm also going to make sure they're equidistant vertically, so we'll set the vertical to equal vertical, and now we know they're equidistant. Now I want to save what I've done so far, so I'll hit the Save button on the Quick Access toolbar, and let's just switch to Form View and just check that our database is working correctly so far. So if I go to the Home tab and the Form View, if I want to maintain campaign data, I'll just rest on it and I can see my control tip text. I could press Alt C, or I could click this button, and there I am. I'm in the campaign data. And if I hit the Exit button, I go back to my interface form. If I click Maintain Donor Data, that opens up this particular form, which I can then check on donors, and I can exit to return back to my main interface. And I won't click this button, but I'm pretty sure if I click this, it will exit my donations database.